Okay, we gotta talk about episode 9 of Chainsaw Man. This episode had me left with so many questions about so many different characters. For example, who are these two? How did Kobeni survive? And Makima, she's actually a devil, I guess, or something at the very least. Either way, we gotta talk about it. We gotta break it down. And after the success of the last video, I decided, you know what? Since the last video was well received, might as well do another one. So if this gets enough support, hey, I'll do the next episode as well. But you should join my Discord server where, yeah, you get to talk to me, but as well we have cool community events like anime awards, we have a movie night, we watch anime all the time. It's really fun, and maybe, you could, like hop in there and click the link in the description to join. I mean, that would be pretty cool, right? Just saying. Okay, y'all, we gotta talk about it. We gotta break this down. We gotta we gotta have a therapy session. We have to have a talk. Okay. So, first of all, I mean, I don't even really know where to start because there's so many big events, and I for the YouTube algorithm, it's always about, where you're putting the biggest thing at the end so you get people to watch. But you know what? I don't care. I do not care. We gotta talk about Miss Makima, because Makima, I said it for the, episode 2? I want to say maybe episode 1, but I don't remember if she was in episode 1. Definitely episode 2, for sure, said that there's something going on with Makima. It's the eyes. The eyes, they look exactly like Power's. Of course, Power is a fiend, so it only makes sense that Makima, in this regard, just for that alone, she would be a devil. And lo and behold, in the last episode, she got shot in the head, and I'm not gonna lie, they really presented her death well. I talked about it on the King of Anime podcast last night. Links to that podcast in the description. I think that they presented her death really well, and I think it was very convincing because of the way they shot her and just how sudden it was. And because it was so sudden in the way it was presented, it was very convincing. It really was. And they showed her with her eyes rolled back in her head almost, with a hole through her head and blood everywhere. At least, someone was going to die out of that, right? And I said it was very likely that Makima was going to die. And the reason I stated that is solely based on how it was presented. Now, last night on the King of Anime podcast, my co-host was talking about how, she's like the character everybody likes. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Makes sense. So, this is not the first time I've made dumb statements, but it was really convincing. That's the thing that I'm trying to get across here. And Makima, these hitmen are like, let's blend in with the civilians. And like Makima at that point is still dead, air quotes, but she gets up and I guess she puts a hole through all of them. She massacres them, and holy crap, I'm getting some Shane from The Walking Dead vibes. I know that's such a random thing, but if you're not familiar, Walking Dead, world famous series, all that stuff. Carl, Shane, where's Carl? Rick, all that stuff. Carl. In season 2, Shane kills a dude and shaves his head, and from there on out, he has this 1,000-yard stare throughout the series. Great performance, by the way, in that series. But that's how similar this is. It feels almost like Makima is trying to hide the fact that, well, not only was she shot, but her true identity. And I think it's only going to become more apparent as the series goes on that Makima's a little less than human. But I will point out something very important that I think you guys may have missed, and I called this out as well last night on my King of Anime podcast show that I host. I don't know why I keep plugging that, but here we are. Himeno, when she's straddling, mounting, predatorizing Denji. Is that a verb? Can I say that on YouTube? Mounts Denji. When she's doing that, she talks about Makima, and she takes her fingers and points them to her head and bends over, and I'm just saying. Himeno also in that same moment referred to Makima in a certain, way of why would you like that bitch, with the horns? And what has horns? Devils. Just saying, devils. So, I'm just, putting it out there. Guys. A theory that I think I can get behind here is that Makima is a devil. But I'm glad I called that. I don't know if that's an obvious thing. It could very well be. Who knows? We'll have to see. Either way, Makima, that's the other thing. if Makima killed these people, wouldn't they look at those dead bodies? Because it looks like there were holes put through them. Wouldn't the people that were in charge of cleaning it up, Tendo-chan and I forget the other guy's name. Actually, I don't even know the other guy's name. I didn't even forget it. Didn't even bother to learn it. I literally just watched the episode. Wouldn't they see what's going on with Makima here as well? We'll talk about these two characters here in a moment because I think they're really good, but I want to finish up with Makima here. At the pretty much near the the ultimate climax of this episode, we see Makima, I guess it looks like she got like a bunch of prisoners or something like that, a bunch of, I don't know who they are. I assume prisoners, and she blindfolds them and tells them to say the names of people, which turn out to be, I guess, the people in the Yakuza mob boss thing, and she makes gestures with her hands, like twisting gestures and smashing, and it literally disintegrates the people into a mess of blood and only leaves their clothes behind, which I find very fascinating. Does not touch their clothes at all. Something that we saw with Himeno's death, which I think is a really interesting thing they carried over here, but Makima's version is a little bit more brutal and disturbing. I think she's a devil. It's not confirmed. I don't want to, say it's confirmed right off the bat because we still don't know for sure. But I will say this, going off the knowledge that she could possibly be a devil, going off that theory, what devil is she? Or rather, if she's a hybrid, what hybrid is she? So we got Chainsaw Man, we got Power, who is the Blood Devil. Is Makima, in my personal opinion, I think we know immediately what it is. Coffee Devil. No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't have a freaking clue of what she could be, because we think about the names of the devils and they're all very Chainsaw Man, Gun Devil. What would Makima be? The Blood Smash Devil? I don't even know. As well, I like the way they're now presenting Makima, and I don't think they're presenting Makima any differently necessarily, but they're definitely framing her in a different way. Before the almost 1,000-yard stare, the blank absence with just of emotion with just a smile, before that was presented in a very provocative, almost very a very attractive way, because it felt like a lot of those early episodes we saw Makima from Digi's perspective, and of course Digi's perspective is that Makima is a gorgeous woman, and that she is, but it was very well hidden. It's more sort of like how they hid Himeno's death, in my opinion. You didn't really expect Himeno to die, however, you also didn't really expect Makima to be presented in the way she did, now knowing she's possibly a devil, right? So it's very interesting in that regard. In my opinion here, I think they're not presenting her differently, they're just framing her differently. And I think because of that, it's leading to a Makima that looks more sinister. And that's the hints that I'm getting. Is she the villain of Chainsaw Man? Is she the true villain? Why? Because you also have to ask, why are these Yakuza hitmen? Why is Katana Man or Sword Man or whatever you want to call him, and Sawatari, I had to bring that up there. Is she out for public safety because maybe, they're like the renegade, right? They're the people on the fringe that are possibly seeing something wrong with Public Safety HQ because Public Safety HQ is ran by Makima. And maybe Makima got there because of her devil powers and started to push people out and radicalize people. That would be quite interesting. So as well, you got to ask, what's the point of the Gun Devil? Why is the Gun Devil in this series in the form of a villain? Sure, we saw that Gun Devil annihilate, 1 point whatever million people, 1.6, 1.2 million, something like that. But why does Makima really want to fight the Gun Devil and want to eliminate the Gun Devil? Why does Makima care about Denji so much? These are questions. A lot of questions that I think are pretty good. Also, why do they round up devils and then basically enslave them? And if they don't do what they say, they kill them. I get that they're devils, but doing that sort of thing isn't exactly the mark of a morally, right or just person. So it's going to be very interesting because, in my opinion, it's sort of like in the AOT thing where it's like, yeah, Eren Yeager for most of the series was the protagonist, but he's objectively a bad person because he's, genociding and omniciding really a lot of people, and he's definitely the villain of that series, but he's kind, he was part of the good guys, so it's kind of hard to say, right? It's one of those things. in my opinion, where it's kind of gray right now. That's my stuff on Makima. That's how I feel about Makima. I think there was some other stuff there as well, something about, her answering to when they were sitting down and blindfolding them. There was something dialogue in there. I wasn't able to catch it, of course. And then as well, at the very end, they tell Makima that they have formed all of the remaining fringe groups into one group, and that she's commander of all of it, or at least a certain subsection. The important thing you're supposed to get from this, besides my awful explaining, is that she absolutely is in charge of things. She has a lot of say now because of this. So keep tabs on Makima. I mean, obviously keep tabs on Makima. From day one, I've basically been telling you all to keep tabs on Makima through my comments and stuff like that. So I would as well if you haven't been doing so, if you haven't already. Tendo-chan and this other guy. Really cool duo here. After we killed off a whole bunch of people, like Arai died, poor Arai. He saved Kobeni though, so I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll talk about that in a moment. Tendo, I'm just gonna say, for the last, I don't know, however many episodes, I've been absolutely disappointed in these women in Chainsaw Man. I just want one waifu I can love, and Tendo is the next one up. What is she gonna do? Is she gonna do something disgusting? Does she drink urine? Like, that's at this point, that's the bar in Chainsaw Man. Does she do something incredibly disgusting that's abhorrent and repulsive? Or is she psychotically insane like Kobeni? I don't know. That being said, she's cute though. She's super cute. I like the hairstyle. And they got these cuts on their faces, and they both have matching scars. So one of them has scars on the left, the other has a scar on the right. So I wonder if they've been partners for a while. Wonder how long they've been doing this. Wonder what if they have any abilities or anything like that, what they've signed contracts with, if anything at all. I don't know. Either way, they seem to be a tandem group. Really cool group. I hope we get to see more of them. They look pretty cool. Tendo, pretty cute. As well, the fight with Katana Man and Denji, it was a fight pretty much. There's not really much to talk about, so I'm not gonna bore you with needless details that you already know. I think it's just really cool when they go from their devil forms into their human forms, both Katana Man and Denji. It kind of melts off them. That's a really horrifying and cool visual. I think I saw a tweet from Danataz Media. He was talking about on Twitter. Dan, really cool guy. Gonna do doing a video with him next week, I believe, on Chainsaw Man. Check it out. Subscribe, ring the bell for that. He talked about how there's a lot of horror elements that was stripped from the manga, and I could definitely see this as one of those things where, even if that is the case, that's definitely a horrifying element, so to speak. Really, it's a really, really cool visual. But other than that, that's kind of the fight. He gets sliced in half, and I think a really cool moment is when Kobeni comes in and kind of uses Denji as a shield, which is another thing. We got to talk about Kobeni, y'all. Kobeni didn't die. I thought she was. They called her Monkey Girl in this episode, and a lot of people are already going off from my brief mentions I saw on Twitter. People were going crazy for Monkey Girl. People in my comment section going crazy for Monkey Girl. I thought she was gonna get eaten or something. We knew rather that Kobeni was a very nimble person. She had an ability in her that was latent and we just didn't see because, all we see is a crazy person. So I wonder if she signed some sort of contract with some sort of devil that gave her this agility, but in return, maybe gave her some sort of hypersensitivity to something, or like a sort of insanity or something like that, because when Arai dies, she starts to laugh when she recalls this, as she's holding a sliced in half Denji. By the way, really cool visual. As there's a getaway and Kobeni sitting there holding on to Denji. Also as well, when Kobeni, it's really weird. She kind of has a lot of style and grace as she's going insane and having a panic attack, like a mental breakdown. She's doing it very calmly. It's almost like that episode of Futurama where Fry drinks 1,000 coffees or something like that, and he just goes slow-mo, but he's having a neurotic breakdown because he drank 1,000 coffees, sort of like that, where it's just I don't know, it's just really kind of it sort of fits the neurotic nature of Kobeni. But I absolutely did not expect Kobeni to survive. She's adorable. I loved her in that outfit they had her in episode 7. That was a pretty great outfit. Ever since then, I've enjoyed the design of Kobeni. However, the character is quite interesting. I feel Kobeni is going to be a character that we're only going to get to know more and more of. Her scene in this fighting its Sawatari was really fun, really interesting. I like when she picks up the gun and starts shooting at him. You don't expect that from someone like Kobeni. And I wonder, when I was watching this, I was like, they don't know much about guns. So what was it like for Kobeni to shoot that gun? Was that like a first time experience for her or something like that? And was it difficult to control the recoil? You know, those questions go into it as well. Also, speaking of guns, the Katana Man says that, you know, devil hunters can't defend against guns. Guns are their weakness. So it seems that maybe this group is working for the gun devil. That's my big theory, because who would have access to guns? Oh, I don't know. The freaking gun devil. How do you even get the guns into Japan? Japan is very strict on gun laws. I mean, that's one of the kind of the things that sticks out about Japan, is they are very strict, very, very strict on weapons in general. So, that was a great episode of Chainsaw Man. I want to ask you guys, what did you think about it? Put in the comments below. Of course, join my Discord, where you can, like I said, we have an anime night pretty much every night. We have a movie night every Saturday, an anime specific night. This Friday, we're going to be watching Black Lagoon. We're going to be doing lots of stuff. We have our own anime awards going on in there. Check it all out, y'all. The Discord server is incredible, and I recommend you all just click that link and join. Even if you join and you don't say anything, check it out. See what's going on there. As well, become a patron, where you'll get access to all of my One Piece videos, 3 videos in advance. So, with that being said, thank you all for watching. I appreciate your support, and I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.